Mayhem 3 Beta 5 Hotfix 2 on May 24th, 2020. So this is not a video for entertainment purposes. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going wrong here. So I'm at, let's see, I'm at hour 21 of day 2, so almost day 3. I've been playing for quite a bit. I just got my second shipyard up, but more importantly, my current fleet status is I've got this squadron of L's here. I've got my main fleet, so I have maybe 6 or 7 Corvettes, 7 or 8, and a few M's hanging around from when I was spamming those earlier, and all of my salvaged M3s from the early game. Then I also have this, ridiculous amount of N's that I built super cheap. I was trying to swarm out the Xenon over here. So originally I was trying to send in the main fleet. Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to come in with my Centaur from the south. So I'm in scale plate green right now. I would deploy a satellite, jump back in the south gate, and then all of the ships would swarm down here and isolate the fighters. And then I would want to send in the N's and the L's that are waiting up north. And they would sit up here, and then the fighters would even further separate from their main task force, because the task force would move down and the fighters would move up, after they kill the satellite. And then I can intercept with this fleet, which has heavier weapons, and they're going to engage the main fleet while the fighters get mopped up by my fighters. But it doesn't work because I can't really test this, because the game crashes whenever I have everything in action. So let's just send the fighters in to a position. Let's see, move to position here. I need to take this Xenon sector because it's, the first big step into the next phases of Mayhem 3. And I haven't really done much. I mean, sure, there's Argon up here I can be capturing, but they don't really have any battle groups. And this entire area down here, all the way from Ocean of Fantasy, all the way up to me, and all the way over here, it's all dead space. I mean, I don't have any satellites here, but I think that's going to be fixed in the next beta updates. Okay, so our fleet is in here. So what I'm doing is, the reason I'm doing it out of sector is because when I'm out of sector, they can all instantly travel through the gate like that. If you try to do it in sector, oh shoot, I need to turn, let's see, fleet settings and scan radius. We definitely want that on 0. It may already be too late. And commander. Let's see, fleet rally to. Okay, so the fighters are getting separated. The L's have entered. So, alright, that fleet is going to enter. I don't have time to wait for them to enter, so I'm going to have to let them enter in slowly. But if I were to jump in and hop in an L over here, pretty sure the game is going to crash. Okay, the game actually didn't crash. I've been doing all kinds of things. I've turned my graphics settings down to minimum, and that actually helped with the frame rate. There have been a few times where I've gotten the battle actually going without it crashing. Let's see, fleet ships, so no, not that, that breaks it. Invade sector, freedom's reach. And let's tell our L commander, fleet, invade sector, freedom's reach. So what's been happening is, every time I try to enter the sector by teleporting or just flying my Centaur through the south gate, what happens is the game just crashes to desktop instantly. So it doesn't freeze, it doesn't have an error message pop up. It just goes to a black screen for like a second, and then it just closes to desktop. Like that. And it closes to desktop. So, okay, so let's try again. I'm suspecting it might have to do with my stupid swarm of N's, so I'm going to try again without that ridiculous swarm. But here's the thing. So I know I don't know if X3 has a limit on ships, you know, that just breaks the engine if you have too many ships. I mean, the final battle in Mayhem 2 and Blue Horizon, my fleet was way bigger than this. Though, I may have actually had less ships. I mean, I had a ridiculous amount of corvettes and destroyers, and I also had a huge squadron of Verdandies, but I may have had less because of all these stupid ends right here. So I don't know if it's the number of ships that's the issue, but I know in Mayhem 2, Blue Horizon worked just fine with that massive fleet I had. And I know in Litcube's universe, I've done things where I've deployed like 600 fighter drones in Sanctuary of Darkness to fight the Phantom Corporation. And yes, it's a slideshow, but I never had the game crash. So I don't think it's crashing due to there being too many ships present. But what happens when I send in the main fleet? Oh gosh, it's right there. Okay, this is gonna be ugly. Yeah, I can't do anything until they're all here. Can't do anything until they're all here. Okay, I have to jump in. Let's hop in a random Xenon P. Okay, it shouldn't crash. Okay, so I've been messing with this a lot. Okay, before the fleet commander dies, invade sector. So I've been messing with this quite a bit, and I've discovered that if I just send in the main fleet right here, which, you know, the main fleet is strong, but it's definitely not strong enough to take the sector, it doesn't crash, and it works fine. I mean, the battle's playing out just fine. You know, all the combat scripts are working fine. And it gets pretty chaotic, even though I get absolutely steamrolled. But I'm gonna go ahead and try and, let's see, let's tell that commander to follow me. And that one. They should trickle in slowly. Because I know I can't enter the sector if all three fleets are present. And we'll see if the game crashes as I bring more ships into here. So another thing I found is that I can teleport, so I'm using the teleporter device as a transporter device to go between ships within the same sector, because that PI I was in was about to die. I found that if I teleported to like the dragon, if I went to the dragon, the game would crash to desktop. Same issue. Same with the centaur from the south. If I brought him up and I tried to teleport into him, it would crash. And I haven't been able to reproduce that, and I'm not going to try it now because I want to see if all these fighters come in. And they're going to come in really slow because they're limited by the gate. So fleet invade sector, freedom's reach. They should be here in no time. Like, I'm not getting any lag because I've turned all the graphics settings down, so I don't... At first I suspected that the game was crashing due to my graphics card getting, you know, memory overload or something because there were just so many ships and bullets everywhere. But I've turned the graphics settings down to minimum on everything, and I've disabled thruster trails and all that fancy stuff. And you can see I'm getting a steady frame rate here, even running the recording software. So I don't think it's a memory overload or whatever that's happening. I don't think it's a hardware issue. It could be something wrong with my computer, but I don't think that's the case because it only seems to... Well, it could just be a regular RAM overload issue too, but then again, I've had bigger battles in LU, I feel. And I'm pretty sure my final Mayhem 2 showdown was way bigger than this. So I just don't know what's going on here. Before this, I recorded like about 20 minutes of me just trying over and over again to enter this sector. And I finally discovered that if I just send in the fleet from the east without the fighters, I can enter. But if all three fleets are present in the sector when I try to teleport in, or even just fly, it's not the problem with the teleporter. I know that to be true because I would have all three fleets in here, and then I would fly the Centaur up, and I would be in the Centaur, and that would crash the game. Okay, let's try to go to the Dragon. Okay, see, It's not... Okay, so it's not the dragon. I don't know what the issue is. But I've had battles where I've had the... okay, what are the ends doing? Alright, this is the nuclear option. So it works with a small amount of ships like this. Obviously, I've already lost the battle. So let me load up a save where all three fleets are already in the sector. I've managed to like 10% of the time I can actually function in this sector. Okay, so this save they're already going, right? So the N's are up here, the L's are about to enter, and this fleet is about to engage. So like 90% chance this is going to crash. It will crash if I teleport anything. I know the P's work sometimes. Again, I don't think this is concrete or anything. I just don't understand what's causing it. Okay, see, I'm in. Okay, and it crashed. So sometimes it crashes instantly, sometimes I have a second, and other times it'll work. Well, it'll work very, very unstably. It's not even a word. So let's load our save with the battle in progress again. Let's hop into one of the corvettes. So I didn't give any orders yet. The L's haven't entered this sector yet. It's just the main fleet and the N's. Okay, I'm not going to enter third person because I think I've had it crash right after I've entered third person many times. So we have the full force of L's in this, I mean, they're entering. We have the full force of N's, so fleet invades sector. Let's tell our main fleet commander to do that before he does. Fleet invades sector. Fighting my instincts to hit the third person camera button. But see, I don't think it's a hardware issue because the full swarm's here. And the battle's going on, and I'm not having frame rate issues or anything because everything's on minimal graphics settings. We'll see if it crashes at all. I'm terrified to go into third person or to even enter a different ship. The only thing I can think of is some kind of script error with some kind of combat script. That would be absolutely impossible to diagnose. Or maybe it's because this sector has a ludicrous amount of asteroids in it. I mean, wow. I mean, it could be something with that. I mean, I never had many of these issues so far in Mayhem 3. Alright, I'm gonna attempt third person. Let's see. Third person camera. Okay. So all of those times that it crashed must have been coincidences. So my stupid swarm of N's is here. You can see all the little blue lasers. Now this whole, I mean, I've not really been able to experiment and perfect these tactics, if they can be perfected, just because of these crashing issues. So it appears to be stable. See, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I have all fleets here. Okay, I need to set my L's to, let's see, fleet settings, fighters. Then let's tell it to invade the sector. I will say though, a battle of this size with this many projectiles and having this steady of a frame rate is not possible in Mayhem 2 or any other version of X3. So whatever Panda magic went into these combat scripts, I certainly like it. I mean, okay, I haven't crashed yet. I mean, I'd really like to jump into another ship and fly that, but all my other corvettes have since died. The ends at work. Death by 1,000 little mosquito bites. Just trying to get my ship that I'm flying out of here. There's not really much I can do at this point, tactics-wise. I don't think I have the firepower to take the sector. I mean, yeah, I'm probably going to clear out some of the fighters, but I don't really stand a chance against the Jays over here. My main firepower is actually this band of elves. The elves have the most firepower because they have EMPCs. Those guns are ridiculously good. Well, this is a 1 million stable run, so I'm going to see it through to the end, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to have to jump ship. Let's see if this crashes the game. Going for a Falcon. Okay, no, it didn't crash the game. So I think we may be safe because we've already lost a massive handful of ships. I see those combat. It's very easy to see at the ends, but those fleet settings, the fleet settings menu, it's working expertly because you can see the N swarm collective go after fighters and ignore everything else. So that's working very well indeed. You can see my guys are all chewing up the fighters and ignoring everything else. So I'm actually curious, what happens in fleet settings if if all the fighters are dead and they're set to attack fighters? I'm assuming they're going to just attack all enemies. But I don't know if I have to go into fleet settings and manually change it to update them, or what's going to happen. I've only just begun to start learning the fleet mechanics. I've been trying to use broadcast to all ships. So let's try it. So let's set the... Let's see. I'm so not familiar with these menus. Let's set the L's to attack big ships. They don't have a current order. So that's another thing. I have no idea how to find the fleet commander and give the fleet an order. So let's see, fleet. Let's get a better view of the background while I try to do this menu. So it looks like all the Xenon fighters are down. No, there's a few left that the ends are cleaning up. Oh, there's not really much left of my main fleet. Get away from that. Q coming after me with fusion beam cannons before it's actually able to hit me. Okay, so fleet commands. Yeah, see, I still have 25 Ls. Those can definitely take out the capital ships. What exactly are they doing right now? So, okay, so you can update that in real time. That's so awesome. So in the middle of a fight, I can just fumble my way to the fleet settings menu, select this fleet, and tell them to attack big ships. So their commander has since died, and I guess they must still be running the invade sector command. But yeah, with those electromagnetic plasma cannons, they're definitely going to be able to take down capital ships. The rest of my fleet, not so much. So let's try and tell the remnants of my main fleet to attack big ships. Now, I wish there was a... Well, no. So say I wish there was a way to have them all focus fire on one target at a time, but I can do that manually, but it just breaks them out of the fleet system. But the issue is, now that the fleet commander is dead, I have no idea which one of these is the commander. One of these is the commander, and I can look through all their command lists until I find it. Okay, here's the commander. See, because if you go in here and you go to fleet, see here's the L commander, but it doesn't open up its command console, so it's very hard to find the fleet commander and issue a new order to the fleet. I don't know if it's possible to issue orders to the fleet any other way. Okay, so here we go. All the fighters are dead, so the end swarm is attacking the next biggest thing. They seem to have signaled out this this P, regardless of those other big ships. So I don't know if they go in order up the food chain of ships, or if they just found the nearest ship. I don't know if they're doing attack all or what they're doing. But their order was to invade sector, and their fleet settings was for the fighters in the end fleet to attack fighters, and there's no more fighters. Okay, we do have a fighter here. I don't know if it works off my collective scan range, or if it even cares if they're revealed or not. Let's actually see where they're going. They are going... Actually, yes, they're going after fighters. So even though they just killed that P... See, I'm learning here. I don't know. I'm very unfamiliar with Mayhem 3's fleet commands and how they work. So they killed the P because they couldn't see any more fighters. Oh my gosh, I just got hit by something nasty. Okay, I need to beam. And I guess when another fighter came into view, they broke off and resumed their original order. That's actually really, really cool, because that's even more advanced than MLCC, because once the MLCC, kills all fighters and they proceed to their next order, that's it. They're not going to kill fighters until you resummon them again. So this is actually, if they're constantly checking to see if there's fighters for them to kill, and they kill all the ships in the meantime, this is a really, really advanced system. The amount of ships I lost is just staggering here, but I'm not entirely sure I want to continue like this. I may just wait it out and come back once I've had, time to build real fleets with at least some M7s and a bunch more M6, or perhaps look at bringing missiles into the play. But yeah, I'm not sure I want to continue with this. I basically lost my entire military doing this, and I don't think I'll even end up winning this. So now that we're in a more controlled environment, the end swarm is definitely interesting for hunting down, sparse fighters in an area. Gosh, I don't even have the firepower to kill the stations. And by the time I build my fleet back up to that firepower, the Xenon fleet's going to be back. So I pretty much lost this. There's not really much I can do. I guess I can call in my Centaur. I guess that's another thing. When fighters are attacking capital ships, they sit kind of still. So they're not going to be able to dodge much. My goodness. Could have sworn that Joubarbe removed those properties that make bullets send you flying. Very nice. Lasers aren't despawning. That's awesome. Of course, it's one of the worst lasers in the game. Let's see. How are my fleets doing? What's left of them? Gosh, I need to... Is there a hotkey for that menu, the fleet settings menu? Let's see. Oh, controls interface. No, there is not. I'm just gonna have to remember roughly where this is on this menu. It forces me to use the mouse. Let's see, 9, 14, and 23 ships left. Well, I mean, the game is definitely not having problems now, but with such a big battle, it pretty much broke. Yeah, so that's interesting. Fighters in Mayhem 3 might not be the best choice for attacking capital ships because they're all sitting still and getting sniped by those fusion beam cannons. I might break them all off fleets. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, broadcast, attack. Let's kill this queue. So, forget fleets. Let's just finish this queue off. I should have done this earlier. I should have done this way earlier. I'm probably not going to be able to finish off the rest of their fleet by now. Kind of curious. I don't know if these numbers here actually correlate to... Oh, well, I guess that ends that. Interesting. Still a complete noob at Mayhem 3 over here. But I'll figure something out. But yeah, the game is super unstable when I had those original forces coming in. It would crash 90% of the time. And I didn't do anything different. I just got lucky this time when I managed to jump in without it crashing. I do have 20 minutes of discarded footage of me just trying again and again with it crashing right when I entered the sector. But I'm not going to... I mean, if anyone really wants to see that footage, I can show it, but it's just crashing over and over the desktop as I try different ways to get into that sector in the first place. So anyway, yep, still lots to learn. Complete noob at Mayhem 3. I mean, I have a few tricks from Mayhem 2, you know, the logistics system that I know really well with the agents that's translated well, but I'm still not entirely sure how to approach those first Xenon sectors. Curious if anyone watching has been able to take a Xenon sector yet, and if so, how early in the playtime were you able to do it? Day 3, day 4, day 5? How big was your fleet? Did you have Marines yet? You probably get Marines after the Xenon sector. I'm not entirely sure because I've never done it. So anyway, the beta versions of Mayhem 3. This was Mayhem 3 Beta 5 Hotfix 2. It's probably outdated by the time this ends up getting watched, but yeah, it's just I'm still learning, and hopefully that crashing issue isn't persistent as I get closer to the late game.